already happened to you several times. Imagine you have been invited to a friend's home for dinner, and usually you think that getting a bottle of wine is enough, right? Well, not so fast, because once you get to the wine store, immediately you're overwhelmed with a vast variety of brands, grapes, countries of origin, you name it. So how do you get the right wine for the right occasion? Here to help us answer that question and many others regarding wine are researchers Ramon Romero and Erick Miller. I should say searchers, right? Because the right title is searchers. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
What is a searcher, Erick?
Wine searcher is, Ramon and I decided that there was a lot of wine out there at a very good price and very good quality, and that people are just not seeing. So as wine importers, we search for wine in Spain and bring it over to the United States so that people can taste great Spanish wine in the
Okay,
US.
so it's similar to a researcher because basically you have to go out and research what it is that you're importing.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's in France they call it négociant. So basically, instead of bringing the wine from being a winery and bringing the wine over here, we go there and we do some searching and try to find the right juice. And then we have a winemaker, female winemaker, who helps us with this, with the technicalities of it. And then we do the marketing and the importing of the wines.
So let's go back a little bit. You basically make reference already to Spain, and this is where you get your wine. But what is the difference so that folks at home can understand? The main difference between a wine from Chile or a wine from Spain or a wine from California? Let's start there.
One of the great things about Spanish wine is the diversity. No matter where you go in Spain, first of all, if you look at Spain as far as culture goes, there's you know, it's just vast with diversity of culture and food and gastronomy. If you're in Galicia, you're going to have certain seafoods. If you go over to Navarra, which is in the center of the country, it's colder. There's more there's richer foods. The same thing happens with the wine. And I guess not to say it's better or worse, but in Chile and Argentina, there seems to be less variety, whereas with Spain, there's just so much diversity with the grapes, with the regions, and with the different styles of wine.
Yeah, and that
California?
Yeah, that all comes from history. I mean, Spain and France are old world winemaking countries, whereas California, Australia, New Zealand, the States are new world winemaking countries. Basically, we brought it here together with other things, other cultural things, I guess. And so tradition dates back to the Romans in France and Spain. So it's been more than 2,000 years.
Is wine made the same way now there and here?
No, well, actually, yeah, because modern technologies are everywhere and globalization. So it's all about, it's what they call the cold revolution. It's all about the temperature. So if you have temperature control vats and all the, because wine is a chemical thing, it's a chemistry thing. So it's a process. And once you have it under temperature control systems, you're gonna make the wine technically in the same direction. But as Erick was saying, in Spain there's many more varieties. For example, California, it's all about Merlot and Cabernet mainly, whereas in Spain you're gonna find like hundreds of varieties. Of course, Tempranillo or Garnacha are the best known and the most widely planted. But yeah, variety is probably the biggest difference, and also I would say finesse, which is a French term, which is less fruit and more finesse. The oak is present there, but not so over. In the States, you're gonna find more like bombs of flavor. They call it like fruit bombs, a lot of oak, so everything is like bigger.
Since you mentioned the fruit, does the grape make a difference? What's the best grape for making wine?
It all depends on your personal preference. If you like a wine that tastes more like a cherry, you would probably do like a Pinot Noir or a Tempranillo, which is a Spanish grape. If you want something that's a little bit more raspberry or fuller body, you can look into Cabernet Sauvignon. And there's a lot of different characteristics that come out of different wines.
And what about, I always hear, and I'm not really a wine person, but I always hear that, you know, there's a certain wine for the food that you're having with dinner. If you're having meat, you should have a certain kind. If you're having fish, you should have a certain. Is that true? And what are the rules?
It is. I mean, we all have our own personal preferences. So I can even use some light reds with meat, with white meats, for example, with turkey or with poultry. I would use a light red, like a Pinot Noir. But yeah, normally, well, we have tasting buds in our tongue, and they go in certain directions that we're not even conscious of that. But things go well with things, and red wine, because of its acidity and its power, it's gonna match well with powerful flavors, with like the ones in meat, in red meats. But then when you have more acidic or sourness, and that comes from the whites, that match well with fish. And that is something that is you can change it, of course, but it's gonna go better. It's like sweet things and after lunch.
So I started this program by describing how a guest comes to dinner and doesn't know what wine to bring. What about if he doesn't know what's for dinner? Does he bring a white and a red just in case? Or
rosé, maybe?
Maybe a rosé.
Or is there a good wine that goes with everything?
I mean, a lot of times, you know, you would see people maybe starting out the salad with a white, and you could start out the appetizer or the salad with a white wine, and then go into the main course, depending on what that is, with a heavier red. At the end of the day, though, I mean, we always tell people, you know, just do what you like. If they had that good experience with that wine in a prior event, you know, definitely take it over. And even if it's not the right wine for that night, I mean, people are still going to they're still going to enjoy it, and it's still going to be fine.
So are there like trends in wine? What's the trend? What's the latest trend in wine market now?
There are lots of trends, and people get to love this sort of trip, like mind trip. People like to travel when they drink wine. They want to travel to Spain, to Australia, to Italy, to California when they're drinking California reds in Europe. And there are trends, of course. We have this Pinot Noir trend, like for the last 5 years, for example. Now we have a lot of Malbecs coming from Argentina. We have
so certain wines become popular for a period of time.
Yeah.
And why? How does that happen?
I mean, you know, marketing dollars. People are looking for something new. A couple of the trends right now that are happening in the wine industry that we are actually experimenting with our company, Romero and Miller is the name of our company. We have a wine called Earth, which is 100% organically grown. And this is very popular because people are very into the organic food, doing better things for the environment, eating healthy. And as much as people are still they still want to understand what organic wine is, you know, when you get that certification on the label and people understand how the wine was made, that's very attractive to them to drink a specific organic wine.
So what is the difference between regular wine and organic wine?
Yeah, regular wine, I mean, the main difference is organic wines are wines that are made in the old manner, in the old fashion, which was non-using chemical enhancers. Mainly, so
pesticides,
fungicides, any chemical enhancer or compost that you can use. This is only organic compost, and then the only sulfites, which are preservatives that you're going to find in this wine, are the natural occurring ones. So you don't add anymore. So these sulfites are all these E- things that you find in every food that you go and buy. So we don't use that, and the result of that is that it's more natural in the taste. It's more juicy, I would say.
I was going to ask you, does it taste different?
And very low in sulfites, which is good for headaches.
It tastes different.
It tastes a bit different, but I keep saying that the wine has to be good. That's A, and then B. If it's organic, the better. But sometimes people just going crazy with the organic thing. If you don't like the wine, that's not going to sell, because it's got a. And too often, what happened with the first organic wines that we saw in the 90s. That they were made in not good cleaning and aseptic conditions, so they were dusty, they were earthy. In this case, you need like cutting-edge technology at the winery to fix the mess that the vineyard is, because the organic vineyard is basically a mess. You let everything grow there, you don't use chemicals, and then at the winery you need cutting-edge technology to fix all that and do it right.
So organic food tends to be more expensive. Is organic wine more expensive?
Typically, you're not going to see organic wine being much more expensive unless it was aged in oak. And so as of right now, the consumer has not put an extra value on that. And to be honest, a lot of wineries have been organic for many years. They just don't have the certification. The Earth Winery does have the certification, and another great thing about this product is that when you purchase a bottle of Earth, part of the proceeds of the sale go back to the African Rainforest Conservancy, which is an organization based in New York, also in Tanzania, that replants deforested areas of the African rainforest.
Ramon, you mentioned headaches, and you wouldn't believe how important that is to me, because I suffer from migraine headaches, and the main reason why I don't drink wine is for that reason. Is there a wine I can drink?
This is probably a wine that you can drink. You should try and see how it goes. But I tell you, a lot of people who are allergic.
Organic wine. Is
Organic wine is very low in sulfites, so that is going to stop that. And well, some people it's about the alcohol that provokes that is going to make you feel that headache. But sulfites can make headaches in you because you're allergic, probably.
So I understand you have here. We have in front of us a couple of boxes of wine.
That's a new trend.
And we were talking about trends earlier. Is this a trend? And why is it better to have the wine in a box?
Bag in the box, it's very efficient in terms of transportation, especially for the imports. And this is a Charla. It's an imported red and white wine from Valencia, Spain, because you can load your container with 40% more liquid. Because when you load bottles, the bottles are very heavy, and you have a limited amount of kilos, of pounds that you can load a container with. So this box that you see here contains the liquid, the wine of 4 bottles.
Wow.
It's 3 liters. It looks like 2 bottles. It's 4 bottles.
Really?
So that's very good. And one other thing that is really good about it is that when these bags that are inside, it's like a pouch that is inside the box, are filled, they fill in a vacuum atmosphere. So when you're drinking out of the spout,
you basically have a spout,
that's
right?
shrinking, and that shrinks as it goes. So that's going to prevent oxidation.
So because I hear people, again, I don't drink wine, but I know that if you put a glass of wine in a refrigerator and think that it's going to be fine the next day or 2 days later, and it really isn't, this will prevent that.
Yeah, because this is vacuum inside, so there's no contact with oxygen. So basically when you're drinking, it's shrinking. The bag inside is shrinking, it doesn't let the air in. So oxidation is prevented for between 3 and 5 weeks, which is quite...
So why, is there a stigma around these boxes? Why aren't more people buying wine boxes? They've been around for a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like the romanticism of opening a cork and popping the cork and pouring the glass. But the beautiful thing about the wine in the box is that and prior to these particular 3-liter bag-in-boxes coming out, there were a lot of 5-liter bag-in-boxes on the market of really cheap, kind of not so good wine. So these are considered, Charla, for example, is considered a 3-liter premium bag-in-box, and it's a little bit more expensive. The wine's a lot better, and you're getting really good wine in the bag. And so the whole thing with the stigma is, I think it has more to do with the bad wine from before than it does with the cork. And once people realize that, doctors all over the place are saying that it's heart healthy to have a glass or 2 of red wine a day. And that bag-in-box allows you to do that, because you can have a glass or 2, put it in the fridge, and you don't have to worry about the wine oxidizing. When we say oxidizing, that means that the wine will eventually go through a process that kind of turns it into vinegar, and it won't taste as good. So this is, you open it tonight, you could have this for about 3 weeks without worrying about it going bad.
And price is definitely much better. You end up paying half. So one of these boxes would cost you $26, $30, and the content of that box in 4 bottles would cost you $50 or $60.
Wow, big difference.
Same juice.
So let me ask you, can you mix wine with other types of alcohol?
You can, but you definitely shouldn't.
It'll get you in trouble, right? On the way home.
Yeah, because you don't. Yeah, you normally control how your body reacts to a certain amount of beers, a certain amount of wines. But when you start mixing, you kind of lost.
We're almost out of time, but give me a brief description of these wines that we have here.
Yeah, well, I mean, we kind of ran over it already. We do have the Earth wine. This is the organically grown wine, and as I said, this is 100% organically grown, and the proceeds go to the African Rainforest Conservancy.
These are all red here.
Yeah, this is a Tempranillo. This is a Tempranillo Cabernet. Then we have a brand called Rentas de Fincas, which is a Rioja wine. Rioja is one of the most prestigious regions in Spain. This is the 07 Crianza, and this is the 05 Reserva. These earth wines are roughly $11 on the shelf, and this Crianza is 14, and the Reserva is about 20.
And the boxes?
The boxes, we have a Tempranillo here, which is the Spanish Cabernet, we will call it, because it's the most extended there. This is 100% Tempranillo, and it's 3 liters, so it's 4 bottles in a box, as I said before. It's very fruity, very easy to drink, and this would cost you $25, $26 in New York. Other states it's going to be cheaper. And then the white, because it's a couple. The white is Chardonnay and Macabeo, 50-50. Price would be the same. It's really nice wine, easy to drink, nice citrusy palate, and a lot of grass here.
And the name of your company is, and how do people get a hold of you if they want to, or where do people find these wines?
You can find these wines all over New York City. If you wanna get a hold of us, you can look at our website. It's www.romeromiller.com, and the name of our company is Romero and Miller, Ramon Romero, Erick Miller. And we're happy to help anybody to find these wines in the city if they.
Well,
if they
thank you for the education you've given us on wine. I really appreciate it. I think I may try that organic wine since you told me I may not get a headache after all.